What is going on, everybody? I am back today to talk about another holiday film. It is the Christmas season, and I've been having fun rewatching some old favorites and watching some new material that I've never seen before. And the movie I'm going to be talking about today, I've seen mentioned quite a few times when it comes to like collective Christmas horror movie lists. I've seen a lot of positive reviews of this movie and even had people in comments recommend that I check this movie out. And so I wanted to finally sit down and give it a watch of my own. And the movie I'm going to be talking about with you today is Rare Exports. Rare Exports is directed by Jalmari Helander. Young Pitari lives with his reindeer herding father in Arctic Finland. On the eve of Christmas, a nearby excavation makes a frightening discovery, and an evil Santa Claus is unleashed. So I didn't know much about this movie before I went into it. I did look at the plot description on Letterboxd, and I saw that it was from the same director of the film Sisu, which I was a huge fan of. And actually, the lead actor from Sisu is also in this film. And so I was very excited to see this. It seemed like kind of a dark, twisted tale about Santa Claus, and that made me very excited to watch the movie. And I have a lot of mixed emotions about this movie. I didn't necessarily love it by any means. I also didn't hate it. I feel like I really respected what it was going for, and I think that it's really well shot, and I really like how effective the third act is, especially. But the problem that I have with this movie is it has a lot of pacing issues, and it doesn't necessarily understand what it wants to be until about 2/3 of the way into the movie, which makes it kind of a difficult total watch, and I'm excited to tell you a little bit about it today. So at the beginning of the film, we're introduced to Pitari, who is this young kid spending time with his friend. They've broken through this fence, and they see that there's this company drilling this giant hole and working on top of this mountain. The two kids have a discussion, and the youngest kid, Pitari, thinks that they're trying to dig up Santa Claus. And through the credit sequence, we see him reading these different books and passages about the true origins of Santa Claus, not the red coat Santa Claus that everyone knows, but the story that treats Santa Claus almost more like Krampus. He is this evil villain creature who takes naughty kids away. And we see that through a selection of visuals at the beginning that I think is really well shot. We're introduced to Pitari's father as well, who works butchering meats, it looks like, and works with herding reindeer. And a lot of the beginning of the movie is establishing the relationship between these two characters. The mother is no longer in the picture. I think it's implied that she has died. I can't remember if it's ever explicitly stated. And so there's some tension between the two of them. They're not necessarily close. And every day, Pitari is kind of like looking up in this mountain, and he eventually sees like this big explosion up there. They're drilling this big hole. And as the film progresses, what we come to find out is this company is trying to dig up Santa Claus. And the entirety of the film is our lead character and the people in this small reindeer herding community trying to stop them from unleashing the terror of the real Santa Claus. So, as I said, I by no means hated this movie, but I also didn't really like it all that much. It's really weird. I enjoyed what it was going for. I think the performances in this movie are really solid. I think everyone does a really nice job with the material that they are given, and the actors all work really well together. This movie has very minimalistic blood and gore, which I can also appreciate. I think that they do a nice job early on conveying a very like anxious atmosphere and keeping you on the edge of your seat as to what's going to happen next. And I think like little things like a reindeer carcass or some blood splattered on the ground comparatively to like really in your face gore effects, I think it works really well for what the movie is trying to be. The problem that I have, as I said at the beginning of the review, is that tonally, this movie is kind of all over the place. They try to incorporate humor in moments where I don't necessarily think it works. There's like a dark comedic punch towards the third act when the film is closing up that I really liked a lot and I think worked really well. But at the beginning, they try to play it as a very straightforward drama. And the problem that I had at the beginning of this film is you get a lot of recycled scenes of dialogue where it's like, kid is worried it's Santa Claus, no one believes him, goes to the next person, the same thing, and we're just getting the same sequences over and over again. And it's like the director knew that they wanted to get to this really exciting third act climax, but had to do something to kind of fill the space in between. And the problem is the way that the lore of the film could have been delivered to you could have been done in a much more nuanced and interesting way to hold your attention, rather than it just be an expositional dump at one point where you're just like, okay, I get the picture through the visuals that are shown to me at the beginning of the movie, compared to just like, okay, we're gonna dump all of this on you multiple times. And I don't know, it just, I kept expecting more, especially from a lot of the positive reviews that I read early on about this film, and I just got bored through the first like half hour of the movie. I really just kept wanting more from the performers and from the material. But as I said, once it got to that third act blow up, everything was really engaging and really well written and entertaining, and I had so much fun with that material, and I thought that it was really well executed. But the problem is everything leading up to that point just didn't mean anything. It was just kind of bland, and I kept checking out. I wanted the entire movie to feel the way that the third act felt, and it just unfortunately didn't. And outside of that, I don't really have much more to say. I feel like this is mostly forgettable. It was fine for one watch, especially those third act sequences, but I don't see myself ever revisiting this movie again. So have you seen Rare Exports? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Leave me a comment down below and let me know what you thought. I didn't think this movie was all that great. I really liked the premise, and I thought the performances were really good, but aside from that, I didn't really get much out of it at all. As always, if you can like the video and subscribe to the channel, helps me out a lot and lets me know the type of content you're looking for. I'm always putting out new material and look forward to getting more out for you in the near future. And as always, everyone, thank you so much for watching, and have a great rest of your day.